Person has to hold you down for 5 seconds and then they get the ball automatically? Like even if they're still walking around? Is that what you mean? Like if someone... So like say a person's running down the field and someone jumps on them and like basically getting a piggyback ride from the other the player with the ball. If he's able to hold on for long enough, they'll switch possessions. Right. Okay, that makes sense. But if he okay. Sorry. If he doesn't get rid of the ball and the person's holding them, okay. Right. I've seen clips of that being played. But I never knew what it was. I thought it was just rugby. Like I've just seen like tackling clips, so I didn't, I just went by the shape of the ball and the fact they weren't wearing pads. If I just biffed it in the pit lane. 27-4.
That jack sounds good.
Oh, let me change my damn setting. How many laps did we end up doing?
Oh god. It's a 1 minute 40-ish lap time, so it should be 12 laps maybe, I think. Something like that. Wait.
30 seconds.
Okay, 10 liter?
I got like 38 liters.
20 seconds.
I was gonna put like 30, 34.
34 should be about good.
10 seconds.
It might help a little bit. I might not make it. I made it.
Oh boy.
Sometimes it takes forever for it to load the setup.
Going double file.
Yeah. Oh, but he didn't make it.
I'm gonna have to go back and listen to that end of the broadcast because I didn't hear anything about that paved race.
Green light, go, go, go.
I mean, I'm not gonna be able to do it, but there's something on there. Don't worry, I'm back here with you. I'll probably end up hitting you too.
Car on the right.
Whoa, where the
Clear
fuck did that other McLaren go from? Yeah, you shouldn't. You shouldn't. If you got a car behind you, or yeah, behind you, you should only brake once. Like if you feel like you're gonna go off of the track because you didn't brake enough, go off the damn track, or you're gonna end up causing a wreck. Well, I mean, he also is in that McLaren. That McLaren, I have a lot of problems with people rear-ending me in the McLaren. Watch it, watch
Yeah,
it.
plus you never want any aero-sensitive car to
We're about
get
to
aero
murder you.
damage. It's gonna be impossible.
Yeah, I got behind him. Because I followed you just to...
Yeah, same.
And you're
Gnarly.
You're just lagging in general. And it's just your ping, I would guess. Yeah. I mean, I think it was, I don't remember if it was you, but I almost rear-ended somebody in the GT3 race that we just had. It was either the GT3 or the GT4 race. But, no, like they were probably like 200 meters ahead of me on the straightaway at Silverstone. And then they weren't. They were right in front of me. And then they hit the brakes. As soon as like it fixed itself and put the car where it needed to be, they were less than like 10 foot away from me and braking. They're using automatic. I can tell because I also use automatic, or semi-automatic. Demo 7 race seems to be using automatic or some kind of, or some stability control.
Well done, mate. Russell's best.
I think they're just a noob.
Slow car ahead. Yellow flag, be careful.
I'm kind of spoofing them too. Holy fuck. You, dude, you can watch, you have to say, you can watch my stream, bro. You kind of fucking just appeared. I rear-ended you, I think.
Yeah.
I didn't get nothing for it. No, it was
I
me.
think it must have been, yeah, I was gonna say, I think it was
You
you.
can watch my stream,
I was gonna
homie.
say, I
You
saw you
fucking
just,
lagged.
your car did, like, sort of lag out of nowhere.
Yeah, it jumped like 20 feet back. Well, it scared the shit out of me, too. It's the exact same thing I was just talking about.
There's a slow car up ahead.
That's why I can never pass you. Scared. Man, this car is just not turning. What's wrong with it? That's what mine's starting to do. At least it didn't damage our SA. I think it was... Now I'm talking about that hit we just did. I didn't even get any damage. Nah, I rear-ended you. Or I hit you on the side or something.
Slow car ahead.
On my screen, it just, you teleported directly, like either next to me or right, you know, right in front of me. And then you teleported back to where you were, but was sideways instead of where you were before.
Falling behind to the car in front in sector 2.
And I mean, Fiesta, this was a slight bit modified version of Fiesta's tune.
We are at the halfway mark, still a long way
It
to
should be
go.
pretty good then.
No, actually, I remember what happened is I accidentally hit save on the stock aggressive tune instead of load on Fiesta's tune.
Oh shit.
And so this is a slightly modified version of the stock aggressive.
Car on the right. Clear on the right.
Not too fucking much.
Car on the right. Clear on the right.
Uh-oh. It's crazy because like we have like I don't know what the other servers are because I don't have access to them, but I have access to one of the servers. And it's a UK based server. Like Choco clicked on the wrong one. Normally the GT4, last time I checked it was the GT4 practice track, or practice server. I was going to say we have, we might actually, I might talk to them and see if we do that for the main races. Yeah, because right, but the UK part of the server, that's somewhat in the middle, I would say. You know, with my my American geography training, don't know where anything really is.
There's a slow car up ahead. Yellow flag ahead. Watch out.
As far as my Japanese knowledge goes.
Car on the right. Clear on the right.
Probably speak Spanish as well as you speak Japanese. Muy bien. ¿Y tú? Sí. Laura es una puta madre. Okay. Oh my god, this max rev guy is so slow. How is he getting lapped in a 15-minute race?
Probably wrecked.
I got spun around and I caught up to the leaders and I'm still in a 15-minute race. Something's wrong if you're getting lapped in 15 minutes.
I've done it.
It's odd, unless it's like somebody else is playing, because I've raced him and he's usually pretty decent.
I don't think so. Oh shit, you did it again. Right. I'm telling you this, if you don't have this McLaren set up and you're not using stability control, it's really fucking difficult to drive.
Right? You mean like traction control or stability control?
Stability control. You got in the actual assists menu.
Oh, okay. I mean, if anything, I'd recommend turn that off and then just turn the car's traction control up.
Well, no, I mean, you'll still spin out with the stability control. At least with, I used to run it at 25% until I learned about, you know, how to make this McLaren actually stick to the road.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, just games like this, assists will always just get in the way. You know, unless it's like a, you know, traction control that's built in the car. It'll always be, even if you don't know, it'll always be slowing you down somewhere.
Right, I normally, if I'm in the, I normally have my traction control on like 1 or 0.
Oh, well then, why don't you turn that up and turn stability control off?
No, my stability control is off now.
Okay.
It's
yeah, these
just,
cars are designed, they're designed to use traction control, but,
I found 1 is fine.
yeah, for a lot of the cars, yeah.
Like 1 will help you take off on, you know, if you're still putting load on the tires in a turn or coming out of a turn.
Losing to the car ahead, he's sector 1.
I tell you what your problem is. You're going too slow. You need more slip angle.
But yeah, slip angle works to a degree, like I said, where it's like, it'll benefit you, but too much slip angle and then you'll start losing time on corner exits.
Right. Now honestly, it looks like in your case, in that
Car on the left.
you need to modify the preload differential. I think I could be, you know, reversed on how it works. But the way, you know, I figured it out, is that I think it's higher, the value, the more, you know, power outside of, or leaving a turn.
Kind of, yeah. So
And the lower it is, the more braking, the more turn-in brake, or the brake turn-in. So on certain tracks like this, I put it real low.
Yeah, so Manzano, you'd probably want to run low. So basically, it has to do with basically when you're off throttle, how different the wheels are turning. So over a corner, a higher setting will allow you to turn in more, whereas a higher value is going to lock the differential more, which is like, yeah, good in, you know, it'll get you straight line traction, but you'll turn.
There's a slow car ahead.
it would be more difficult to turn, basically.
Right, unless you're using slip angle. Because
Pretty much, yeah.
it basically
Yellow flag ahead.
the way I understood it is the higher the value, the more like a drift car it's gonna be. Not that
Exactly.
it's like a drift car, but it's locking both the the rear
Exactly.
wheels
It's
with
making both,
less
yeah,
power.
both wheels spin at a similar rate.
So yeah, on this track I found, and even on like Monza, anything with the chicane, like too many chicane, too much, chicane, I'll lower it so that I can get the turn while I'm still braking.
Green light, go, go, go.
Yeah, nobody actually finished that race though. It doesn't count. Trash.
I'll take the win. See if one more starting from the back does any good.
I'm definitely gonna fuss with this tune.
Oh, was that Dom?
What's your preload differential on?
I'm going pretty low. Mine's on 60, but obviously front engine cars are all gonna, pretty much every car is gonna behave differently. Apparently on the safe setup, it's using like 120 newton meters, which is
It's crazy.
oddly high to me. Yeah. Yeah, I typically run a much lower differential, but yeah, again, it totally depends on track and car, etc.
Okay, I want to add a little bit of overturn, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want the front end to turn more. So, would I want the rear anti-roll bars? No, I mean, I understand the differential part. That's fine. I got that one figured out for the most part. That's like the fine tuning. But, would I want the front anti-roll bars to be stiffer or the rear?
You would want so if you want more initial, like right at the beginning, more turn in, you would want to lower the front, or raise the rear. However, I would honestly just, instead of that, I'd recommend take the ride height and go up 1 or 2 clicks. And try
on
that
the rear?
before. Yeah, so on the rear ride height. Yeah, so in GT3 cars, the ride height plays a huge role.
I normally go up at least 2 with the rear, and then I'll go between 1 and 3 lower with the front, putting me somewhere between like -3 and -1
for
on
for the aero bounce.
Yeah.
Yeah, so try going up a little bit more on the rears, so that you're maybe 0.1 or 0.2 more closer to positive on the percentage.
Even though this is a mid-engine?
Yeah. Yeah, so in all cars, more of a percentage forward is going to be more aggressive and a little bit more oversteery. But yeah, I would try that before too much stuff with the anti-roll bars.
Alright, so okay, so negative, the more in the negative, the more the arrow is towards the front.
So the more negative, the more it's towards the rear, pretty much. The more it's interesting because aero balance just refers to, obviously like the amount between the front and the rear. So
Right.
more in the back is going to be more in the rear, which leads to more understeer, but is more predictable and a little bit easier to like get a hold of. The
So a
closer
positive number is a front end, is more on the front end? Or is that even,
yeah.
am I even on the right track?
Kind of. The thing is, though, aero balance, you really do not want to differ too far from stock. Like quite honestly, the biggest things in setup that are going to make a difference, first things first is tire pressures, like getting the tire pressures right. And in my opinion, the biggest thing after that is aero balance, because it will change the car at every single corner. So you may find that going one direction might be more stable in the high speed. So like if it's more negative, you might have an easier time in like the high speed sections.
See, I've been backwards with it. I thought negative was more towards the front. So that's probably why I can't get the rear tires to release like I want them to.
Like the way to imagine it is if the rear ride height plays, think about just the rear axle. So if the rear is higher, you're causing more of a rake in the car, which basically means there's more air being forced upon the rear, the rear and the front together, so there's more downforce. Whereas the lower you go on the rear, the less you're getting, but you're also getting a more streamlined car, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, another question.
Mm-hmm.
Would I add more, if I'm trying to get better grip while in a long turn
Mm-hmm.
with the front, trying to, maintain optimal grip while I'm turning, would I add more camber or reduce the camber?
Add more camber.
Okay, so like more negative?
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Okay, I guess it's the only
in
one.
this game, I'll give you the little esports secrets somewhat from direct from Fiesta. You can go quite aggressive on cambers. I'm not going to disclose too much, but you can go quite aggressive on negative camber.
Now, I'm gonna go and just try this one, because I mean the camber. I always go. For some reason, I've always been going towards the. I normally got it sitting on negative, like the front on -1 to 2.
Okay,
anywhere between. Yeah, I got it on negative 3.5 right now just to test it.
Yeah.
Now on the rear.
Same
the closer to 0 is the easier it is to lose traction, right?
So the closer to 0, you'll in theory have more grip because you have more contact. The tire itself is touching the road more. But then at the same time, you're not going to have as much grip going through the corners.
Okay.
Because like, for instance, like when you're going through a right-hander, you want to think all the G-forces are pushing car from the right-hand side onto the left tires.
Right.
So the more camber you have, the more that push is going to actually give you more contact patch while you're in a corner. The only downside is with more camber, you have to remember that that means there is now less tire touching the road, and so there's more of a chance that if you start getting unstable, the car is going to be a little easier to kind of turn sideways.
Now, if the aggressive setups on this McLaren always set the bump stop range on the fronts to 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, how much does the bump stop rate being changed affect it if it's at 1?
So it's really tricky. So they're two totally separate things. I'm not even an expert on this, but I know at least a little bit. So the rate literally has to do with the stiffness of what is the bump stop, which is basically like a rubber stopper. And so the higher you go, the stiffer that will be. The bump stop range literally has to do with how much the suspension compresses before
No,
it
yeah,
hits
I
the
mean,
bump stop.
I understand what they both do. I'm
Mhm.
just wondering, like, if it's only at 1 and it doesn't have to travel very far, how much does the rate, like, going from 900 to 1,000 on the bump stop rate, how much is that going to affect it?
So that won't play a huge role, just a tiny amount, but basically it's more noticeable. So when you go over a curb, the car is gonna, it'll be much more reactive under stable conditions. But when you go over a curb, it's gonna act a little bit more violent because it's hitting a stiffer surface, especially with the ranges that low.
Let me save this
Yeah,
real quick.
usually. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, usually the rate you can go a little bit higher on, but I haven't experimented too much with it, so I'm definitely on that stuff a little bit less knowledgeable. On a track like Misano, definitely though, since there's not a lot of aggressive curves, you can go pretty hard on the wheel rate, the bump stops, and so on.
Alright, what about the caster? The caster only seems to affect, like,
Yeah,
how stiff the wheel feels.
exactly. Yeah, so caster is really tricky because it really doesn't apply much in sim racing. Like, it's kind of
That's what
funny that
I
it's
was
added.
reading. I was reading that it
Yeah.
really doesn't do much. It's more about personal preference.
Yeah, like the feel in the wheel.
I just jacked that shit all the way up.
I've tried like some weird sneaky things, like for instance, like my Monza setup, because you're always turning right and there's barely any left-handers. I have it
Right?
where there's more of a higher value on the left wheel and a lower value on the right wheel, because basically then that means you have a longer wheelbase in theory on the left, whereas then on the right there's a shorter distance.
I never thought about
Uh,
changing them separately, but yeah, that makes sense to
Yeah,
do
it
that.
really only works on like on tracks like that where it's since Monza the only left-handers you have are like the chicanes or Ascari. Otherwise, everything else is set up to turn right.
Right. So I'm thinking there's another track that I think that might be helpful with. It's where
Yeah,
you got a track
it's
that where you got to go one way in the chicane, but what is that? It might be Zolder.
oh yeah. I mean Zolder is also similar where it is a lot of ton of right-handers and not a lot of left-handers.
Right. It's like
Yeah, it's
except for that one chicane that
30
you kind of
seconds.
have to go through real quick. It seems like
mm,
maybe if you have it easier one way than the other, you can ease into the turn, but then jerk the wheel the other way a little easier or faster.
yeah. I really, for the most part, I don't recommend touching caster too much because at one it doesn't play too much of a role, and three you can do a lot more harm than good.
I just put it all the way up.
Stay in double
Yeah,
file.
yeah. Typically I have it like just whatever stock is, and if things, I'll maybe experiment and see how it feels.
Why am I in reverse? Where you at, Dom?
I saw him ready up, and then
Low tire pressure.
There
Stay
we go.
away from curbs.
And it already
Green
feels
light.
a little
Go, go,
better.
go.
Something happened. I'm now in full manual. I don't want that. Okay, now it's fixed. I've done something. It is turning better.
Yellow flag in sector 1.
I'll wait for you when I mess up here in a minute, Dom. I almost don't know if that preload, if I was correct on the preload, it might need to be higher.
It's tricky because it's good to go low in the corners, but it'll make it a little more sketchy in the high speed. You basically just need to be mindful of when you're letting off throttle and so on and so forth.
What I really need to figure out is the bump and rebound rate, you know, how that affects it.
Yeah, dampers are
Yeah, the
dark
damper settings. I normally go around the track, I'll figure out a setup and figure out what curbs I normally would hit.
Yeah, exactly.
And then if I hit it too hard with the rear end, I'll soften it up a little bit. I don't normally mess with those. I don't know how much those will actually affect lap times.
It plays a big role, but it's like it is, you know, very specific on, you know, using curves and how it interacts. Again, on like a track like Misano, it's so flat and the curves themselves are so usable that you can usually go quite aggressive.
When do you use cockpit view?
Yeah, I use cockpit just because, you know, for my immersion. And I do find that it can be helpful for seeing like when traction control kicks in. But I know a lot of people prefer like hood cam or.
I mean, I don't know if it does it. I know it doesn't do it in a couple other cars. Like it's not. It seems to be like only the McLaren issue. But when you're in cockpit cam or anywhere, when you can see the dash, when you turn traction control off, it tells you, it says on the thing, you know, TC off or whatever. But then it doesn't go away.
No, that's meant to be like that.
But other cars do go away.
Yeah, I mean it's all dependent on what yeah, exactly, which car and then which like operating system they all use. But I mean, yeah, that's the thing is GT3 cars are pretty much designed to use traction control, so it's one of those warnings for, you know, like I guarantee that it does that in the real life car.
Nah, but it's bullshit. I had to pick the one car that I can't use cockpit view for the majority of the time because it takes up almost the entire dashboard.
I just use one TC.
Well, I normally do, but it doesn't take up it. It messes with it a little bit. Can you adjust the cockpit view in this game?
Nah, I wish. Yeah, it's too bad because there's a
Might
lot of
just be
other
AC.
games like Project Cars lets you, standard AC at least lets you do FOV and the actual full cockpit.
Right, I mean even GT Sport lets you do it a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, you can do at least a bit of FOV to a degree.
Hey Dom, if you get behind, if you get behind the finish line, well, if you do a lap, I didn't know if he was busy, but if you like do a lap and then wait for the final or the first person to cross the finish line, you'll still get the point. You get the trust points.
Yellow flag in sector 1.
Yeah, no, that's what I was saying. I see you over there by the pit exit. Well, you don't play it whenever you leave? You don't play ACC on the go? It can be done.
Gonna say remote play, that's gonna be, talk about input lag.
Yeah, most definitely. But I mean, honestly, I think the input lag's more so on, the Bluetooth side of it. I don't know, I did it the other day, or a couple weeks ago, and with the PS5. What the fuck? Why are you trying to cave me over, bro? I'm gonna pass you.
Clear on the right.
Okay.
Slow car ahead.
Ah, hit it, not too hard. I'll be able to put in a racing pace now with this other car out from in front of me.
Keep pushing. Yellow flag ahead, be careful.
A good what? Oh, there you go. I don't know, I do like cockpit view, but...
Yellow flag in sector 2.
It also depends on each car too, is like, some of the cockpits are pretty damn good, and then others have like the absolute worst, like, POV ever.
Yeah. Like, the McLaren looks alright. I just hate the fact you can't see, it's like, you can see part of the mirror, but for some reason it's facing the ground. It's like, why do I need to see the fucking ground?
It's funny, if you see, if you look at James Baldwin on YouTube, who, like, an esports driver and then also raced the real McLaren GT3, because on PC you can change your cockpit setting, and he has, like, the weirdest angles for the McLaren. Like, I'm sure he uses it when it's closer to the actual real car, but...
Right. Now, see, on the PC, as long as you're savvy enough, you can change whatever you want.
Yeah, exactly. They edit the actual files.
Yellow flag, be careful.
Y'all said we went 12 laps? I don't think we're going...
I think I overestimated. It's probably like gonna be 9 or 10? Yeah. I guess 15-minute race, it should be 11 laps, because you think if it was a 1 minute...
Yellow flag in sector 2.
Yeah.
I don't understand how to use the calculator, or the fuel calculator in Discord. I just use the app. I got an app. You just pull it up.
I mean, for me, what I'll do is I'll just make it for a baseline, so I'll swing for a time amount. You can usually, you know, roughly set something up for, like, if it's a 20-minute race, and then, you know, do that 20-minute race, and if you are flat out the whole time, always using the same amount of fuel each lap, and then you have X amount left over, then you can kind of know, take this amount away.
This person in front of me is blitzing or lagging a little bit too. We're on our way.
Yellow flag ahead, watch out in front.
What? Oh yeah, I keep messing with them. They're not messing up.
Yellow flag in sector 2.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we both
Yeah,
have a little
21
pack.
seconds.
Oh boy.
I could have passed this person a couple times. They're definitely on the controller. I thought they were lagging, but it's just minor adjustments. It seems.
There's times where like you're on a straightaway and somebody's like constantly moving, and you're like, oh, that's the controller for sure.
No, I just know this person. They're in 3rd place right now, so they're really trying to keep that. And I almost got past them on the straightaway at the beginning, probably like 3 or 4 laps ago. And they tried to put me off in the grass.
Oh shit.
Yeah, we were right up next to each other at the beginning, or when we were next to each other passing the line. And I didn't really do it on purpose, but they just got real close.
Right.
If I wouldn't have scooted over, you know,
Yeah,
they'd
it's one of those where, especially
made contact.
on the beginning laps, a lot of drivers just are like not used to not driving on anything other than where the racing line is, and
Yeah.
just, like it was probably a case of that of like didn't know where to go.
Yeah, that's why I can recover from things that I be doing, because I normally figure out what a lot of people seem to be cautious through the first couple laps and figure out, ease into, figuring out what you can and can't do with the car. But I like to do the complete opposite, where I'm just going, I'll go flat out, just all the way out, and figure out what I can't do.
A lot of times people say you're never going to win a race on lap 1, but you can very much make up a lot. You can very much make up a lot of time. Like, you can catch a lot of people out sleeping. Oh boy.
Yellow flag in sector 2.
I swear if this dude punts me. Let him pass. Shit, I'd start making my way. Are you at the finish line?
It should be 1 to go after this.
Who, me?
I was aiming for you.
Hey, let me know if I'm flashing my lights. Whenever.
Yellow flag ahead. Watch out.
Oh wait, which way are you facing? There you go. Are my lights flashing? Nice.
Pretty hilarious. Wasn't the race 15 minutes? You had
Yeah,
a
but you
lap
didn't
that was
finish.
longer than the race.
Have you crossed the line already? You gotta go around one more time. You didn't get a green flag, did you? Or a checkered flag? It doesn't matter. Nobody's finishing.
Yellow flag
The
is
server's busted.
Well, it finishes, but it finishes on whatever the order is.
Yeah, but I mean, points-wise, between the trust that you earn at the end of the race, you don't get that since everybody's technically, got green beside their name. It doesn't, yeah. I said definitely, because it's, make sure it's set up safe.
I was gonna say that's plenty of Mizano for me. I think I might actually be hopping off at least for a bit. Let's see. I'll see if there's any other decent lobbies in the meantime first.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, it's not.
Say, oh god, 30-minute race. Yeah, I think I'm gonna hop off for now. Well, there's good stuff in the meantime. Bid you adieu. Said I'll bid you adieu. Little bit of Deutsch. Alright, see, man.
Anybody still here? No. No, Dom, you're still here. What other cars do I have that are custom livery that I don't want? This. Kind of upset you can't at least have a custom livery for at least one custom livery for every car in the game. And I hate the fact that the McLaren only has one design for the paint. Gotta look up and see what this setting does. Well, I definitely can't figure out what this setting does. I wonder if it does something on a different car. Let's go with this one, because this one I could at least change the design. It doesn't fucking do anything. It makes no sense. I don't know. Definitely gonna pick a different car next season. Yeah, I don't know. What color should I make it, boo?
Sky blue.
Sky blue.
Yeah, it looks like a real pretty cloud blue. That's pretty.
I like satin metallic.
Pretty.
We got more blues.
Look at all those blues. Well, 69 was like, hey.
I might go with matte.
I do like that.
All right, what about the black spot in the middle?
Like a darker blue to kind of, I don't know, you able to change that red?
Yeah, that's the other thing. Maybe an orange.
Yeah, orange would be.
You ain't got no better oranges. 516, there it is. I hate the fact you can't just scroll down and it automatically puts you, if you're way over here, you can't technically go down until you get to where you can actually go down. So I guarantee you there's people that don't even realize that these colors right here exist. Like I didn't even know there was, where are we going with it? I don't know. Yeah, I don't like that orange. How's that? Yeah. And what's the base color? 69. So we'll do that as the accent. I don't know, I might go a little darker because you can't really tell it's blue. Unless I can chrome. I do like that chrome one though.
Yeah, it looks like it matches the middle of the accent.
Well, that's not even the right color. That's the main color. It's matching.
Yeah?
Yeah, 69. Then we got 342. And it's like, why are these down here? Like, you could have put the 342 in between the 341 and the 343.
Think. Yeah, they seem to. Why are those ones at the bottom not with the other colors?
I think because, well, that would just be 341 or 342 is in between black and white. So that might be the reason. But I don't know. Alright. Maybe a different. Yeah.
light green.
Hey, message me if you decide to get back on.
Green light. Go, go, go.
What's up, people? I think I'm meant to do that Zolder race. Yeah. I'm gonna be we're gonna switch over to Gran Turismo